Alright guys, so sorry about any wind that you might be hearing. It's a windier day than they said. We're about 100 miles from home, down here in the state park of Bahia Honda down in Marathon in the Florida Keys. We got a huge problem. Completely left all my tackle. So mission of the day is find somebody to help out with tackle, find some weights, something that'll get me to the bottom. I'm gonna do it really simple. I just kind of want to enjoy the day and try to see if we can catch little stuff here and there. Maybe I get lucky and catch something really cool. I'm not too sure. I've heard of all sorts of stuff being caught here. People have caught, bonefish, tarpon on the flats and stuff like that. So mainly I'm expecting to catch some grunts, snapper, little kudas, stuff like that. But just trying to have a good day out here and see what we can do and hopefully find some tackle. We really just need weights. Completely left the tackle box. Crazy. All right, so let's just head straight out east. We just launched. Got some people diving over here. I don't know if you guys can see that. This time of year, a lot of people come out to the Keys and put their dive flags out. The water's warm. Us locals don't like anything under 70-degree water, more like 73. So I'm heading out east. We're down here in the Keys, and the water clarity is fantastic. I mean, I don't know if it's because some of that fresh water has been pouring down with the rain, and on top of that, the wind has slowed down tremendously. So I think we're getting really lucky here with some good conditions to just have a good time. We're not going to do anything crazy today. Hopefully just get on a couple fish. You guys already know, completely left my tackle box, so we're going out here blind. I'm just going to keep paddling this way. Directly in front of me really is just next stop would probably be like Cuba in the Bahamas. If I were to just keep paddling, that's where I would end up. So we're going to keep paddling out. Hopefully the current doesn't get too strong and flip us around. So we're going to be mindful of that, and we're just going to head out, start by throwing the artificial lure. Like I said, left my tackle box, so we're using a really janky lure that I found on that website Temu. Completely regret putting that on there, but let's see, maybe it'll bring on some fish. Let's see. All right, so we've been paddling for a little bit. We're probably at about 6-7 feet of water. It's really hard to tell because honestly the clarity makes it weird. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this down. By the way, guys, I'm on an Ascend Kayak FS12T. It's the older model, but I mean, it's really convenient. I could just put my paddle like that on those brackets. Stability is okay. I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of stuff that's more stable. I'm not gonna stand up just yet. If I could, I would get one of those pedal kayaks. And like I was saying, that janky lure I was talking about is this little like largemouth bass kind of pattern thing. It's a hinged bait, so it's got that free swimming movement. I'm gonna throw it around, see what I can find. And hopefully I don't just get cut right off, because then I'm out of lures and we're only throwing dead shrimp. Never forget your tackle box, guys. It'll ruin the day. We're throwing the Penn Pursuit IV 2500. It's just a budget reel setup on the Penn Squadron 3. Also just a light tackle setup, nothing crazy. So it swims pretty cool. Check this out. I don't know if you guys can see that, but look at that thing swimming. It's got some cool movement. Kind of just swims. No need to jig this thing at all. So let's see. Cast pretty far. I like to use light setups, especially if I'm in areas like this. So right now I'm just using really light tackle, light lures, light reel. I think I'm using right now like 15-pound braid or 10-pound braid on 20-pound leader, pretty sure. Just gonna keep on casting. So the cool thing about this area, guys, is the water is fresh from the Atlantic. We're actually on the ocean side down here in the Keys. So you get a lot of those bigger fish that are cruising down. Certain times of the month, like March of the year, like March, you'll see big tarpon running around the Keys, not under the bridges, so basically in open water, kind of free moving. Those are hard to get to eat. They really don't. They're pretty lockjaw. So we're not going to have any luck with those guys, I don't think. But right now I'm really just trying to pick off maybe one of those yellow jacks, a Cero mackerel maybe. But unfortunately, with the setup that I have right now, without having my gear, can't throw what I really want to throw. And I think I'll get cut off on anything that's not a little cuda. We are on. I don't know what it is. We are on. Look at that. No way. I just caught a yellowtail. A yellowtail on this freaking hook. You gotta be kidding me. A yellowtail while just casting this little hinged bait. All right, let's get it back in the water. Check that out, guys. That's, oh, buddy. That's actually kind of crazy, I'm not gonna lie. Look at this. Beautiful yellowtail. Look at that. Look at the colors on that guy. Absolutely beautiful colors. I mean, how the heck did this guy smack? I thought it was gonna be a cuda, but he wasn't fighting like a cuda. I was basically just blind casting around, decided to pull up to the spot, and he ate it. See ya, buddy. All right, so that little yellowtail was super cool to catch on artificial. Unfortunately, that was the only thing we caught on that artificial bait. It's just not the right lure out here, and I have no replacements, unfortunately. So we're going on a mission now to find anyone who is willing to give us some split shots or any type of weight, really. It could be anything. We just need to be able to sink a shrimp to the bottom. Really limited today. Let's see if we can turn this day around. Although that yellowtail snapper, I gotta say, was super cool to catch on artificial, especially in this crystal clear water. I mean, it was just illuminated, bright yellow. Let's see if we can find someone. Look at that guy with the tent back there. You think he found a weight? Oh, does he want that weight? Hey, are you gonna use the line?
Yeah, I'm fishing with it.
Oh, do you have extra weights by chance?
Little split shots.
Do you think I can borrow some?
I have 2 drums in my pocket.
Oh yeah? All good. There you go.
And there's that couple of mango snapper.
Farther out?
No, right there.
Right there?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay, look, there's an area.
Yeah.
You can see it.
I forgot my my whole tackle box, so. I do not believe how lucky we just got. Our buddy came through with some split shots and this really big weight in case we get by that really rippy current that's by the bridge. And we've got this right here. We only have a couple shots though, because this is all we got. Hopefully we don't break off or anything. I think we'll start getting into better luck now, but we got really lucky. I can't believe we just landed these. Let's get these split shots on. So we're using a little circle hook. Just messing around, like I said, guys. I mean, this is a complete day from hell if you guys haven't noticed yet, but let's see what we can do. So it's a really weird, like, if you look closely, it's got like a really milky color. I think this is where a ton of currents kind of like meeting up. Just gonna throw that guy right in that milkiness and see if we can feel a bite. Guys, I'm using the Sienna 2500 on the same thing, Penn Squadron 3 for this setup, and really light tackle leader setup. So right now we're kind of just drifting clearly. I'm gonna let that scent get out there. Maybe we can pick up a nibble. I already got a nibble here actually. Oh, a couple bites. There we go, and we're on. Can't be anything big. Oh, spat it. So that milky water definitely produced something. I guess there's just a lot of current in there. Some bait fish are probably getting flustered up. Whatever's in there is probably really small, probably, until we attract some stuff. If I could do this over, what I definitely would do would have to be throw out a chum bag. I think we could actually probably get some luck here if we threw out a chum bag and bring a pole next time. Like I said, this was beyond improvised. I have my girlfriend here too, so I can't be out here too long. So that's what we're dealing with. Oh, a couple nibbles. Definitely got probably a little big of a hook here, but with that circle hook, you don't really even have to set the hook. You kind of just let them eat. So right now they're munching. I feel those nibbles. They got to be small. They got to be really small. Hopefully, just by letting it sit there, I'll get some bigger guys to show up like that. That's a, see, that's a fish. That's a fish. Let's see that we can't fight him. Yep, that's a fish. Let's keep the tension. Not bad. It's this milky water here, guys. If you're ever out there, what is it fighting? Like a lot of head shakes. Let's get this guy up. We're on this light leader. Really light leader. Seems like a decent little fish. Seems like a decent little fish. That milky water is what we're talking about here. Don't let him get too slack. And see if we can flip him on the boat. He's still got a lot of energy. Let him die out a little bit. With these fish, guys, there's no rush, especially when you got light leader on. There's no sharks around. Take your time, they'll start going sideways. I think we might have ourselves a little mutton, believe it or not. Yeah, check that out, guys. Definitely not a keeper, but ain't that cool, huh? That is so neat. Look at that mutton snapper. These guys have to be 18 inches. I don't really, look at that, guys. Beautiful, beautiful mutton snapper. Look at the colors on him. That is just absolutely gorgeous. Talking about tropical reef fish, these guys are absolutely gorgeous. Oh, don't want them to bite me. They've also got some pretty serious teeth on them. So let's go ahead and get that hook out and say goodbye to our mutton. These guys have to be 18 inches. By the way, mutton snapper, without a doubt, is the most delicious fish you can eat. They have a really crustacean-y diet. See ya, buddy. And that crustacean-y diet actually translates into their meat. So that white flaky meat that they have almost tastes like a lobster crabby taste mixed with fish. Absolutely delicious. I mean, I highly recommend it. If you're ever in the Keys and you get yourself on a mutton, this time of year we're actually in what you call a mutton spawn. It's when all the mutton snapper are spawning, procreating, and they get really aggressive. So July, remember that you're down here in South Florida, you're gonna want to try to see if you get yourself some cut pilchards, something like that. Come out here and have a good time. But there we go, guys. That was the second cast in that milky area. This we could probably go back out and follow. So let's see, guys. If you look directly where that book bag is in the horizon line, there's that milkier water. Like I said, I think it's just, you know, a mixture of current and a couple other different factors, water temperature, maybe stuff like that, that's bringing some of these bigger fish in. Hopefully that scent will trickle. We would have a game changer of a day here if we were able to anchor out, but we don't have that gear with us. So we're gonna have to keep on coming back to this milky spot and taking our cast in. But that mutton snapper was a great second cast, let me tell you. Those weights really were a game changer for us. It's getting messed around with. There we go, that's a fish. Yep, that's a fish. Let's try to keep this guy on. He just hit hard. I don't think he's any big. We are using really light tackle here, so he's small. We got a little guy. Another mutton, guys. That is crazy. I don't even care about the size on these muttons. It's just honestly impressive to see them out here. I think it's awesome just to get an idea what these guys are munching on. But it is July and these guys are hitting hard. Another mutton snapper out here in the Marathon patch reefs. These guys are probably getting a little bit bigger than heading offshore. Let's go ahead and release this guy, get that hook out and release him. So he choked the hook. I went ahead and just cut it. It should rust out. It wasn't like all the way in the gullet, but it was pretty far back. That's the only thing about these circle hooks. So swallowed it. I think he'll be all right. He swam off just fine. Let's go ahead and see if we can get another one. I mean, that's pretty crazy, guys. I wasn't expecting to be catching mutton out here. I know they're not keepers, but you know for sure, you spend enough time out here, you do it the right way. Come out here with some thread herring or some pilchards, you're gonna have a field day. You know, I'm just doing this with little frozen shrimp and a circle hook with a split shot, so it's nothing, not the right way of doing it. But if you anchor up, I think if you were to anchor up right here, poke it down, set a chum slick out, I think you would have those mutton snapper way back in your chum line, and you would just have to float little pilchard chunks back there and just have a field day. If you're planning on coming down to the Florida Keys or probably anywhere in South Florida period, get on one of these, you know, patch reefs, and I think you might get lucky on catching some mutton snapper during the spawn. Pretty cool. So I'm starting to get played with a little bit. I'm gonna open up the bail, let them eat. Like I said, it's probably just small stuff, and then the big guy will come and just chew it up. These are circle hooks, so we're not really setting the hook, we're kind of letting him eat. And then we'll set the hook on him like that, just like that. That's how you do it with circle hooks. It's a small guy, little French grunt. Pretty cool. Look at that, tiny little things. So, little fun fact, and I heard this from a local down here. These little grunts that you see, look how beautiful they are. First off, look at that guy. Look at those. The mutton snapper and these guys have a very similar build, if you really think about it. That elongated head, and look at these beautiful, beautiful blue stripes they have. So he just pooped on me. So these guys are absolutely beautiful, and they've got these like golden and bright blue stripes. They're super cool. They would make really good aquarium fish, actually. But let's put him back in the water. Off he goes. Those little fish are actually what's keeping a lot of Cuban refugees alive down here in Key West. So over in the Marquesas, we're having an immigrant crisis with Cubans. I myself am a Cuban, or I come of Cuban descent. And they're eating those because they're so bountiful. So I've heard from some locals down here in Key West, Key Largo, wow, really big fish just passed through, that these Cubans are coming on their rafts, because a lot of them do come on rafts, tubes, inner tubes. Some of them come on makeshift boats. And they're washing up on the Marquesas, which is actually an island chain that's right before Key West. So if you were to drift from Cuba to the Key West, you would have to you have a chance of getting caught in those keys of islands called the Marquesas. They're eating those things left and right, and it's what's keeping them alive because of how long it's been taking U.S. Coast Guard and a lot of these other services to get out there with emergency aid, because here in the United States we do that for immigrants. It's absolutely chaotic. So when I see that fish now, I'm just in shock. It's kind of crazy when you really put your mind around it. All right, so it's been a couple hours that we're out here on the kayak. Definitely a cool experience. We're gonna rough it out for a little bit longer. I'm drifting one of the shrimps out, and we're just gonna take it from there. I mean, pretty cool day. Some yellowtail, some cool reef fish like those French grunts. That's pretty cool. And the water's crystal clear, and we're out here in paradise. It is an absolutely gorgeous day, and the water's crystal clear. So you can't really beat it. And not to mention catching mutton snapper only a couple feet away from the beach. That's pretty cool. You know, you can't do that just everywhere. So the Florida Keys is a really cool place. Let's keep on trucking it. Come on. Clearly we're going over some good ground here. You know, it's no different than when you're on a boat and you're just drifting some baits, except you've got a GPS. You can see what the bottom looks like. Right now I'm just looking down there and getting a feel for it. But we must be going over an area where there's either some big potholes or something different that we haven't been seeing throughout the day. It is just stirred up here too. The waves are killing it. Look at that big hit. That was a big nibble. Let's give it some line. Hopefully this thing's hungry, whatever it is. And very wavy, very wavy. Ugh. Come on, eat. There we go. There we go, guys. Small. But man, I miss feeling the drag turn. Wow, that was brutal. How long for a freaking fish? A little yellowtail, man. I'm telling you, this is so cool. I don't care that they're not keepers. This is just too cool. A little yellowtail. Oh. Holy cow. All right, come on, buddy. Let's see. Come on. Man, they got pricks on them like you wouldn't believe at the top. There you go. Let's get him right into the water. Super pretty colors on this guy. I mean, look at these guys glisten in the sun. They're so cool. They're like little aquarium fish. Like that in an aquarium is so cool. So cool. Look at them lighting up the water back there. I'm imagining a lot of the stuff that's biting us out here today has been little stuff like that. But like I said, we're not here to break any records. We're just trying to have a good time. I think I went a little bit overkill with the shrimp too, to be honest with you. Start chumming up a little bit. Just basically throw some of those things out there like I just did and get them excited. It's just little fish that I seem to be out here, except for that mutton, man. I mean, like, that mutton wasn't that small. It really wasn't. It was a pretty big size mutton. And you know, if there's muttons that big, there's bigger muttons out here. So you could spend your whole day out here. It's kind of like a lotto. Will you get the big one? Is it going to be worth your time? You don't know. But as long as you're catching really cool fish like that, man, that's why I bring light tackle out here, so everything kind of feels good when you're fighting it. Then I think it's a pretty successful day, I'm not going to lie. You know, just to get out here, get some line pulled. No better way. That pretty much wraps it up. Basically, all we did today was float around those patch reefs that are about 100 yards from the beach. If it weren't for those split shots that guy gave us, we would be screwed. So at least we were able to send some shrimp to the bottom, catch a couple cool fish. And I think the highlight of the day was just seeing mutton snapper in general so close to the beach. Sometimes I would be paddling and I would actually look down. You could see their bright oranges and blues, and I thought that was super cool. We saw a lot of cool sea life, and that's what it's all about. So definitely stay tuned for the next one, guys. Subscribe for more episodes, and I'll see you guys in the next one.